In this video tutorial, I'm going to show you how to create this cocktail using Adobe Illustrator. Now, I guess the cocktail glass itself is fairly straightforward, but when we get to drawing that little orange off on the left-hand side there, it can get a little bit tricky. Okay, so this should be a bit of a challenging tutorial for us. Anyway, to get started, we're going to load up Illustrator and make ourselves a new file that's 1000 by 1000 pixels, 1000 width, 1000 height, RGB color mode, and 72 pixels per inch resolution. Click Create when you're good to go. Now we're going to start today by doing this purpley coloured background. So simply grab your rectangle tool and make sure in your colour boxes down here that you've got your purpley kind of colour selected and you've turned your stroke off. So this little black box there in the background there is the stroke colour I need to turn off. I just want the purple fill colour. And then I'm just going to simply draw a rectangle starting from the top left and dragging down to the bottom right and snapping that into place. I'll head to my layers panel, open up layer 1 and lock this rectangle layer by hitting the empty box there next to the little eye. That will make sure we no longer are able to edit that background. It's just locked in position there now. Alright, once we've done that, we're going to start drawing the orange first up. So we're going to grab our ellipse tool from our toolbox. So hold your left mouse button down on top of the rectangle tool so you can change it to the ellipse, or just press the letter L for the shortcut. And we are going to just simply draw an orange on the page. So let's get the colour orange first of all instead of purple. Now the colour orange I'm going to go for is F8A718. So F8A718. I'm going to click OK there. We should get a nice bright orange colour. I'm going to hold down Shift and simply draw out an orange like so. Okay, it doesn't matter what size it is for now, but that's a good start right there. Now what I want to do is draw a smaller circle just inside of this original circle. And there's a quick way to do that by going up to the Object tool here, Object menu, sorry, going down to Path and choosing Offset Path. Okay, and at the moment, if you preview it here, you can see that's currently making a circle a little bit bigger than the existing circle we've got. It's taking the same shape and making it 10 pixels bigger. We actually want to work in reverse and make it 20 pixels smaller. So if you write in -20, you can see here now we're getting a circle inside of that orange one. That is a little bit smaller. So I'm going to click on OK. And I'm going to change the color of this inner circle now. So just go over to my orange box here on the left and double click. And I'm going to make it FDD8A1. That's like a light orange. You can pick a light orange if you don't want to type in the hexadecimal code. That looks pretty good. And we're going to do one more circle in the middle of this. So I'm just going to grab my ellipse tool for this one. Now I want it the same color as this outside orange. So I'm going to grab my eyedropper tool and just click on that orange. You can see my little color box has changed to that original orange we had. Now back on my ellipse tool, I'm just going to hold control and click once on this inner circle. And now when I hover around the middle of it, it will show me where the center is. Okay, it actually comes up with the word center. So I'm going to click and drag while holding Alt and Shift. And I'm going to draw a little orange circle about that size. Now that's gone back to the light color, so I'm just going to quickly grab my eyedropper tool again and change that back to the darker color. Okay, so we've got 3 circles there, one on top of the other. A really small one in the middle, fairly large one in the lighter orange color there, and then the darker orange color in the background. Alright, so what we're going to do now that we've got the basic shape of our orange sorted is draw the inner pieces or the inner pattern on this orange. If we go over here and have a look, you can see this is the little pattern I'm talking about. It's probably the hardest part of the tutorial, so let's see how we go at getting this right. First thing I'm going to do is grab our rectangle tool and simply draw out a rectangle. Okay, and it's using the same color as we did there on the outskirts of the orange. I'm going to grab my direct selection tool, which is the white arrow, click and drag over the top 2 points, and you'll see some little circles there near the corners, which allows us to round off the corners. I want you to pull them all the way in, as far as they'll go, so you get this perfect round top to our rectangle. And the next thing I'm going to do is press Ctrl R on my keyboard to bring up the rulers around the outskirts of my page. And I can actually pick up one of these rulers on the left and drag it over to the center of this new shape like so. Okay, so pretty sure that's in the middle. Yeah, that's in the middle. Okay, what I'm going to do now is simply click over this left-hand bottom corner and click it up, pick it up with my white arrow tool, and I'm going to hold shift and just pull it across to that center line. Do the same for the other corner, just click and drag over it to select it, then hold shift and drag it in to where that ruler meets in the middle there. Okay, and that has given us this kind of, I don't know, teardrop kind of shape, I guess you'd call it, which is going to be the pattern inside of our orange. Okay, so this ruler, you can actually click and drag over it and press delete. That'll get rid of it. We don't need it anymore. And we are going to move this piece up here right to the center of the orange. And we're going to just make it a bit smaller while holding shift and alt. And I want it to sit just above that circle. You can probably go a little bit bigger. Holding shift while we make it bigger again. Somewhere around there is where you want to put that shape in to begin with. Looks a bit like an exclamation mark at the moment. All right, what are we going to do next? So we are going to select this shape and click on the rotate tool over here. This is like a little bendy arrow. And with the rotate tool selected, what we're going to do is hold down Alt on our keyboard and click this little crosshair that you can see in the middle of the exclamation mark shape and drag it down to the center of the circle. You'll get a pink guide saying center when you're hovering over it there. And when you let go of your mouse and the Alt key, a little dialog box appears asking you how far you would like to rotate that shape. And we're going to be rotating it around this center point of that circle there in just a moment. So we're going to rotate it 30 degrees. And I think that's about all we need to do. So we're going to click copy. If we just press OK, it'll just rotate this shape 30 degrees. But if we press copy, it makes a new copy. And if we don't press anything else now, and just press Control D, it duplicates that shape and the effect we just put on it. And it will go all the way around back to the start of your orange like so. Alright, so that looks pretty good. If we zoom back out there now, we've got ourselves a finished orange. So I reckon that looks pretty good. Click and drag over it all, press Control G to group it all, and that becomes one big shape to move around now. You can even hold shift and give it a bit of a resize. We'll just make it a bit smaller for now and just push it off to the side. What we need to do now is draw the actual cocktail itself. So we're going to go and grab our polygon tool, which is going to be used to draw a triangle part of the glass. And before I draw it, I'm just going to click off my orange there and change my color. And I'm going to change it to D6CE D6. And that will give me a really light grey kind of colour for this cocktail glass. Okay, so I'm going to click and drag out. Might be easier just to hold shift for the minute. Doesn't matter how big that triangle is, just go and drop it in there somewhere. And I'm going to turn this upside down. It'll start to look more like a cocktail glass in a sec. You can resize it down, you can pull it out a little bit if you want, just to make it look like a cocktail glass up the top. We can also put a stem onto this glass by using the rectangle tool. Okay, so you just need a skinny stem. It's going to be something like that. Okay, that doesn't look too bad. And what you can do is just make it overlap like so. You can move it up and down to whatever position you want to make it look good. But a nice skinny stem for our cocktail glass always looks good. And then we're going to just copy and paste this triangle. We're just going to rotate it around so it's up the right way. Give it a slight resize so it's a bit smaller. And drop it over the bottom of that shape, like so. And there is a very simple cocktail glass coming into play there. Now, there's a very skinny neck there on the glass, so if you want you can make it a little bit thicker. I think that looks a bit better. Alright, so far so good. Now what I want to do is actually create an offset path of this triangle up here to put the liquid inside of. So remember, the offset path is just the same shape, copied and pasted basically, but you can make it bigger or smaller before you put it in there. So I'm just going to go up to Object, and I'm going to go to Path and select Offset Path. Okay, now I reckon -20 kind of looks pretty good there, so I might leave it as -20 and click on OK. And this color needs to be a different color to the glass, so I'm going to go with a bright kind of color that looks like a fancy cocktail. I might go BBFF 00 and click on OK. You can see now we've got this bright kind of cocktail in there now. Now the stem of this cocktail glass is in the wrong spot. It needs to be moved backwards. So if you look over in your panels here, the layers panel, I'm going to bring the polygon, which is the liquid, up one. So it's now in front of the stem. And that looks a bit better. Okay, you just need to draw a little straw now. Grab your rectangle tool again. Draw yourself a little straw like so. We might round the edges off a bit. So grab your black arrow. Just round those edges off. And what we're going to do after that is just basically rotate it and put in the drink. So let's hover around one of the corners and give it a bit of a rotate. Drop it into the drink, and I'm going to put this layer of liquid above that straw. That looks a bit better. Okay, so straw's looking good. We can probably just grab this orange now and move it down to the corner of the glass like so, just so it intersects. And I think that's looking pretty good. So if you want to highlight everything, just move it up a little bit towards the middle. Feel free to resize something if you would like, but I'm pretty happy with how that's turned out. So I'm going to save that up now by going to File and Save for the AI file, or you can go to Export and export it for the screens, and that will save that picture as well, ready to be used online. Alright, so that will do us for this tutorial. That's how you draw a little cocktail using Adobe Illustrator. I'll catch you guys in the next video.